meters. So a beverage is a very low noise receive antenna. And the one I have is pointed toward Australia and New Zealand down in there.
Yeah,
And
I was going to put a beverage up for 160 and 80.
Yeah. Well,
Can I throw
actually,
out a separation?
I was going to put up 2 beverages on this on the same band, and one would be facing northeast, and the other one would be facing southeast. And I figured that I would make them, what do you call it when they'll, you can reverse it and they'll point either direction.
phasing them. Yeah, I see what you're talking about. That way you could cover 4 directions.
I can hit Europe.
A reverse beacon. Hey, that's
Yeah.
a whole different thing.
I can hit Europe, Australia with the one, the
bidirectional beverage.
Yeah. And then the other one will hit Asia.
Yeah.
And
well,
Asia.
the beverages really, I used beverages on 160 and 80 meters. This 330-foot one, been several years ago. I actually put it up so I could do some DX in the wintertime. And I was working a station in Australia on 75 meter and on the low end of band, the CW. I could not even hear this station with my vertical antenna. I was transmitting on a 60-foot homebrew vertical. But when I pushed the button on the K3 to switch to the beverage, that guy would just pop out of the noise and he was easy copy. And that's the difference between a beverage and whatever your transmit antenna happens to be. Beverage has got gain in the direction that you want it. Unfortunately, I wanted a beverage pointed toward Europe, but the way my house and land lays out, I was only able to get it that direction. But plus the 60-foot vertical to my backyard, I've got a lot of radials, and you don't want to run your beverage over your transmit antenna radials because it picks up a lot of noise from the transmit antenna. So that kind of limited as the direction that I could run my beverage.
Can I throw out a supposition? It's my opinion. I think people tend to not like sloper antennas because they don't understand the geometry and the radiation pattern inherent in a sloper antenna. People tend to not like end-fed antennas because they don't understand the concept of that return current flowing down the outside of the coax.
Exactly.
And they don't correctly choke the bottom end of the coax. So They end up with RF current flowing in the shack and a hot line tuner that bites them when they touch it.
Yeah, you got to have a choke or you're just farting in the wind.
Yeah,
you're losing power.
You got to do something with that common mode.
Right.
I would argue that you can transmit on the beverage antenna. If you can receive on it, you can transmit on it.
Yeah, you could transmit on it.
There's a problem with that because a beverage antenna has a load on it, on the end of it.
You would have to, it's like a rhomb. You'd have to treat it like a rhombic.
It's like a rhombic. Like, and you got that load out there. And if that load is not at an electrical zero current point in the antenna, and that depends on the frequency. If it's not at a zero current point, you're going to have RF current flowing through that load. There's 2 problems with that. Number one, you're burning up unnecessary power in a resistor that's laying on the ground. Number 2, you're burning up the resistor that's laying on the ground. So
Well,
beverage antennas tend to be used for receive only because people getting in trouble with them trying to transmit.
if you was gonna make a beverage for transmit, it would pretty much have to be home brewed, so you could have this matching transformer tough enough to handle the RF power you're going to put into it. And then the resistor, the terminating resistor at the end of it would have to be a Haas terminating resistor. And the resistor at the end is supposed to be a non-inductive resistor. And so, you know, where do you get a 400 or 500 watt non-inductive resistor? That might be a problem.
Actually, you can wind that from wire, but you have to know how to do it.
It's still going to be inductive.
It'll be non-inductive. I think the Navy actually built some long wire antennas like that out in the Pacific Northwest for, wait a minute, for, excuse me.
You're not going to die on us, Phil, are you?
I hope not. My kids have to go all the way downtown to find somebody to
Not
give me
on camera anyway, okay?
That's right. The Navy built some long wire antennas and some rhombics like that for VLF communication to submarines. Now that takes an enormous amount of real estate because you got wires out there that are running out there for miles. But they were talking to submarines on those things. But that was one frequency band. They don't have the dilemma that we have where we want to operate on all these different frequency bands, and we like to have one antenna that can do everything. And a do everything antenna, no matter how you slice it, is a compromise.
Exactly right. That's why I like mono band antennas. And I cured my 40-meter dipole antenna by building a full-size rotatable 40-meter dipole. 66 feet long piece of aluminum on a tower behind my house, fed with a gamma match.
Fed with what?
It's got a gamma match on it.
Oh,
That's a whole nother subject. You have to look that up.
Yeah.
But you're the man. Yeah, I mean, you got maximum efficiency out there with aluminum radiating.
You won't believe the difference that it makes when you rotate that broadside to the station you're trying to work.
My 6 meter and my 10 meter are essentially rotatable dipoles.
Yeah, that's the way to go, man. Well, you know, for some bands, I have a rotatable homebrew for the Warp bands too. But I have a tri-bander for 10, 15, and 20. But if you want to work the low bands, Carl, you need a vertical. If you want to work 80, 160, or 630, or even 2,200 meters.
yeah, that my intention is to, whenever I get all the other projects done, I intend to put up a tower and use it as a vertical so that I can get on 160 and then use beverage for the receive on that. And I would probably feed that tower with gamma match.
Yeah, I've done that before, Carl, and the problem was the tower is close to my house, and it just picked up so much noise that it did not work near as good as my vertical in my backland.
Well, you can do it depending on how much real estate you got.
You can do it to a tower, but your tower needs to be away from your house, your neighbors' houses, and all that kind of stuff. And it's just easier to put your your tri-banders and higher frequency antennas on the tower, and then put a separate antenna in your backland, a couple of 100 feet away from your house, so you don't pick up all that noise. You're trying to work weak signal stuff on 160 meters, and you don't want to pick up all that noise from your house, the neighbors, all their swimming pool pumps, and their noise that the TVs are generating, especially in plasma TVs. They were bad.
Yeah, they'll eat you up.
So people say vertical is noisy, Carl, but my vertical is 200 feet away from everything, and it is super quiet.
Well, that 200 feet wouldn't be a problem for me then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because just, I'm that far away from everybody anyway.
Yeah. Well, I built this antenna out of 4-inch irrigation tubing. It's two 30-foot sections spliced together. And I originally built it for 80 meters, and two 30-foot sections of 4-inch diameter irrigation tubing is resonant at the low end of 80 meters. And if you want to do 160 with it, you just put a loading coil on it.
DX Engineering actually has a small tower that everything's already ready to go. That's exactly what it's for. It's a transmitting antenna tower, and it's not very much compared to other antennas. And I've actually been looking at that for something just real simple to throw up.
How much is it?
About $1,000.
Well, think how you can build one yourself out of 4-inch irrigation tubing for nothing.
Yeah, I've actually got lots and lots of tower Roan 25. I've got about 160 feet of that, and commercial tower. I've got a 80-foot.
Then why would you go buy $1,000 antenna if you got Roan 25? Just buy you an insulator for the bottom of that and put up about 80 feet or 90 feet of Roan 25 and use that for a vertical on 160.
Yeah, I could do that. And I've also got a couple of freestanding 60-foot freestanding towers that might even work better. So yeah, I've got a lot of options.
Yeah, I don't buy these high dollar antennas. I'd rather build them myself. That's part of it. That's why I'm building these. I'm building two antennas for 432. They're each one of them 20 elements, and I've got them pretty much working now. And I'll have about $300 in two of them, and that's less than half price if you go buy them. And I got the fund to build them.
I got to jump. Thanks for the satellite info, Ken.
Okay, I hope it helps.
Oh yeah, it did. I didn't know about that tracking program and all that.
Did you look at Orbitron?
I did. I brought the page up. I'll check that up later, but I did the search and have the page.
It's really got a nice display on it.
Yeah.
And there's you have to upgrade the info on it. I think it might do that when you first bring it up.
Okay.
I can't. Let me pull it up here. Okay, over on the right-hand side below the satellite. So go down through there and click the RS-44 satellite, and it'll show you where it's at on the screen. I don't know if it'll be right or not. I don't know if you have your location into the program.
No, I don't. I just got the page.
Okay, well, you can still click on RS-44 and and it'll show it in there. But
Yeah, I don't have I just have the website of the thing.
Oh, okay, okay.
So
Well,
I've got that one up here to take a look at later, but
Okay, well, once you open the program on the right-hand side, there's a couple of buttons over there. One of them says load TLE.
okay, I'm looking at a screenshot, an example. Yeah.
Okay, that TLE is a two-line element.
Okay.
And that's the information that the program uses to know where the satellite's at.
Okay.
And I think it's set to update every 30 days. I changed it on mine to update it every 7 days.
Okay.
And you can do that too. But it's a cool program. It's old, and there may be a better one, but this is the one I knew about. So this is the one I went for.
Yeah.
And
I'll take a look at it.
yeah. Okay. Get your info in there and click on that RS-44, and you'll know when it's coming by. And you might even be able to, do you have a transceiver that will operate on 432? I was going to say you might be able to copy the beacon.
No, that's why I'm looking at like those Yaesus and stuff, something smaller that I can, that will go up there.
Yeah.
That I can use. I'll have to get a pair of them, but.
I'm using a K3 with a Helicraft 432 transverter.
Okay. I just have the KX3, so I can only go to 15 to 6 meters.
Well, with the transverter, the transverter is at 28 megahertz.
Oh, really? I'll have to look at that. So
Helicraft makes transverters for 50 megahertz, 144 megahertz, 222 megahertz, and 432 megahertz. And I bought a used one for $150. And that's what I use on 432.
I've checked that out, but I say anyway, I got to jump out of here. So, but thank you for the info on that.
Okay, Paul. Glad to help.
Okay. Have a good one.
Agree.
Hey, Ken, one of the reasons that I was thinking about buying the DX Engineering antenna was simply because it would be so much easier to do that than it would be to build a gamma match and isolate the bottom of the antenna. And figure out how to actually build the antenna so that it would work on the 160 and 80 and stuff, because just going blind, it would be difficult to figure out the lengths of everything and the distances that I would need to use to actually make that a functioning antenna on 160 meters.
Well, not really. Go to my webpage and look at my k5dnl.com, click on antennas, and you can find my antenna that I use on 630 meters. That is my 80 meter vertical with a 160 meter loading coil on it. And like I said, for 80 meters, 60 feet of irrigation tubing, and you got it. You don't have to do anything to it. You can feed it from the bottom. You don't have to do a gamma match or anything. And as far as building the vertical, you just calculate the quarter wave of it and put some ground radials on it, and you got it. You gotta build these antennas yourself, Carl. We can't build transceivers anymore. We gotta do something ourselves in ham radio.
Yeah, back in the 70s, I built a bunch of antennas, but yeah, not so much since I got involved with amateur radio.
Building these 432 antennas has been really fun. It's taken me a while to do it, but I'm one of the new things that I did learn how to do was braze aluminum to aluminum. So the elements is aluminum brazed onto the aluminum boom.
Ken, your sound went away.
That happened once before. You got me now?
Oh, there you go.
Still there?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I think it. I don't know if it's that USB connector or what. Anyway, I've learned how to braze aluminum to aluminum by starting this 432 Yagi project, which I never even tried to do before.
Yeah, I looked at your webpage and looked at the pictures that you had put up someplace, and yeah, that looked like you did a really, really good job on that.
Have you seen this aluminum welding rod?
Say again, Phil.
Have you seen this aluminum welding rod?
That's what I used.
It's an aluminum alloy with a flux all in it, and you can heliarc it with a MIG welder and weld it just almost like you would electric welding.
I've done that before, and I did a terrible job.
It's a learned skill.
Yeah, but what I'm doing now is I'm brazing the aluminum elements onto the aluminum boom. I'm gas brazing it with a acetylene torch, and and I have a lot neater job than I did when I tried to weld with a stick welder.
That's unusual because usually it's a lot harder to do it with a torch than it is to do with MIG. Of course, the real secret that hardly anybody does is that you have to clean that aluminum absolutely spotless.
That's the only way you can make it work, Carl. It has to be clean.
It's a little bit like silpox and copper. Remember, silpox and copper air conditioning lines and plumbing copper. You have to get that really, really, really clean. And then when you flow that material in there, it'll flow into the copper and stick. Otherwise, if you've got contaminant on the weldment, then it won't stick. It just gums up.
Just like soldering little stuff, dude.
Yeah, that's right. Of course, you can get away with a few extra fins when you're soldering. I've actually soldered stuff that was so dirty that I soldered it with acid core solder and let the acid clean the material, and then had to go in and spray that down with cleaner and flush all that acid out of there so it wouldn't corrode it.
Yeah, usually I just brush the hell out of it, but yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Oh my Phil.
Like a whole lot going on at Elmer's tonight. Elmer's meeting.
Well, there's nothing they want to share.
Never did find out what Peter Core was working on. Hey Phil, I'm gonna put something in chat that you need to take a look at. Noticing your watch on your wrist. Let's see what I got to do. Okay, hit enter. There we go.
You noticing the watch or the hole in the arm?
Whoops.
The hole in the arm. The hole in the arm of the fault of Sonic the cat. the watch fixed because my son kept me on a starvation diet, and they cut me off of most of the salt, so the swelling went down.
Oh, there we go. I sent a link in the chat.
How do you do that?
Hey, a fluke watch, that's pretty cool.
Well, it's a test meter.
Yeah. On your arm. That's pretty cool.
Volts, amps, watts, well, everything that.
Okay, what is 720, 740?
Yeah, there's one guy down there that says best Father's Day present.
Uh-oh. Don knows what I'm doing. I'm cheating. I'm using my office computer for Zoom. And that's fine, except when I click on this link.
I won't tell.
Don't tell. Well, when I click on this link, the IT people pop up with a nasty gram and says you're not allowed to go there.
Well, I actually have, now if you can see my right hand, that's where in fact, you might see the corner of it here.
Yeah, there it is.
That is my FAA laptop. It is not on. I'm being a good boy.
You're being a good boy.
For once.
Well, I have the big monitor on the FAA laptop, the small monitor on my personal laptop. And I get on here tonight. I'm just too damn lazy to unplug the monitor and move it to the other computer.
Oh, no. See, I actually have a TV that the remote failed. So it is now my auxiliary monitor for both computers. I just have to change the source.
A TV, yeah.
Depending on whether I'm at work or off work. I used to do that with the buttons on the side.
I used to use a TV set when I had an Apple II computer. It had a little channel 3 oscillator in it.
Oh my goodness, yes.
And it was like an 8-inch TV, and it would display that Apple computer output.
And this would do a fine job of that too.
Yeah. Yes.
But it also does a fine job of HDMI and VGA.
Hey, Carl, what's your QTH, Carl? Do you live in Norman?
West of Norman. Let's see, west of Moore and northwest of Norman.
It's still Cleveland County?
Yep.
Okay. Like on the edge of Cleveland County.
Edge of, well, to tell you the
Well,
truth,
if you're west of,
I'm not sure how far Cleveland County goes west.
Are you in Cleveland County?
Yeah. I know how far it goes north and south.
South is easy.
Is it? Well, the river goes through there, the South Canadian River. Is that I wonder if that's the end of the county line.
I don't think so.
Think it goes past the river?
Yeah, I'm real close to the river.
Yeah.
And the river changes all the time though. You know, it wanders back and forth about a half a mile. So
yeah, it's lonely.
We used to go dune buggy down that river. We used to run them dune buggies I've run it down the river all the way from Union City to Wanette. There's a pipeline down there that crosses the river.
Wow.
And one time we was going down the river as 4 or 5 of us in dune buggies, and a small aircraft flew underneath that pipeline. He must have been about 10 feet off the ground.
Hmm. Yeah, people used to canoe on the South Canadian, and they'd start northwest of Oklahoma City
Yeah,
and go south to making an all day trip.
yeah. Well, I used to float the Mountain Fork River. There's a float fishing trips we used to go on. I had a 17-foot aluminum canoe. We would put in at the, our wives would take us to this place where we put in as a low water bridge at the Oklahoma-Arkansas border. And we would float from there to a little town called Smithville, where we'd get cabins at. And that Mountain Fork River came right by our cabin. So we could pull in there and walk up the bank with our fish, and our wives would cook the fish for us. We could have a fish fry. That was the good old days, man. We used to really enjoy that.
I floated the Arkansas River from Tulsa to Fort Smith.
But that's a long float trip.
Like a long float trip. It took all day to get down there, and then we stayed overnight in Fort Smith and turned around and floated back up the river the next day.
How do you float up the river?
We had a powered boat.
Well, we was floating the Mountain Fork in a 17-foot canoe.
Oh,
Hard to paddle back up.
hard to paddle back up.
30 or so miles. And,
Come on, you didn't expect Phil to go anywhere without some kind of power, did you?
yeah.
No, it was enough trouble pushing that boat off sandbars.
Yeah, we did a airboat. We used to do an airboat on the Arkansas River. Had a Volkswagen engine on it, as a matter of fact.
Oh, that'd do a fine job.
Yeah.
Even better if you had like a 360 Lycoming.
Well,
Yeah.
the Volkswagen engine, of course, is air cooled, so you didn't have to have no water.
That's what I'm saying. A 360 Lycoming, even better.
They're a little bit more expensive than a Volkswagen engine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like triple. But I bet a Volkswagen 1600 or 2000 do just fine.
Yeah, it was a 1600.
I have some experience with 1500, 1600s of those.
Yep.
They are about damn near bulletproof.
I built a few dune buggies using the Volkswagen engines. They
I
were
did a little bit of dirt track with them.
Also, the last couple of dune buggies I built was with Corvair 140 horse. And the only
don't get me started there, dude.
It was only thing I used is the engine and transaxle, and I built my own frame. And the 140 horse Corvair was really powerful, but it had a lot of weight behind the rear wheels, and it would eat up them other Volkswagens on a straightaway, but they'd catch up with me on the curves. We used to race them down on the South Canadian River.
A buddy with a Corvair. Until the engine fell out of it, and he drug the thing to school.
That Corvair was a nice setup. It was a good engine, and it was a 6-cylinder rear engine, but a lot of weight back there. And I used it had single barrel carburetors on it. I took them off and put a Shinworth intake manifold with a 500 2-barrel on it, and man, that thing really performed then. And
I-
and it had Shinworth headers on it. That gave me
Unsafe,
about 50 more horsepower.
unsafe at any speed.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We had a good roll cage on them.
Yeah, I was
Shoulder harness.
very familiar with that, what Corvairs used to do whenever the back suspension would go over center and lock up and put you into a spin.
Well,
And I did that several times.
a dune buggy is a little different. We had my back tires were 17 inches wide.
Oh,
They're
geez.
Indy 500 race car front tires was what was on the back of my dune buggy, and that kept it from swapping ends with you.
Yeah, dune buggy's entirely different
Yeah.
than the suspension on a Corvair car.
Oh yeah, you got a lot of weight back there, and it'll swap ends with you on slick roads if you're not careful.
You didn't happen to know the guy that runs Bear Safe that used to race drag dune buggies, did you? David Walker?
No, I did know a few guys that did drag dune buggies. As a matter of fact, Don DeLisle was one of the guys that I knew, and another guy, I can't remember, he owned a salvage yard. He used to do that. They were using direct drive, chain drives, and then things were dragster deluxe, but you know, they were short track, eighth of a mile drag strips on the sand.
Yeah, what
Big paddle tires on the back of them.
you remember what years that would have been?
Oh, it was probably back in the early 80s. Entirely different machine for dragsters and for running down the river and for going to Little Sahara. All three of those are completely different machines. Little Sahara was always a fun place to go. We started out dune buggying on the South Canadian River. First few dune buggies was kind of a family thing where a group of us would get together and our wives, picnic lunches and everything like that. 2 or 3 years later, they all turned into single-seater racing machines. Kind of got off of the ham radio subject there, didn't I?
Yeah, what's the model of your scope, Ken?
I can't remember. It's a
He told me the other day.
Tektronix 2012B.
2012B.
I've got one of those at work. I love that scope.
Yeah, I like it too.
It's a great little scope.
And it's got that nice frequency counter built in it.
Yep. I got a frequency counter and a spectrum analyzer module in it. It's the only thing that I can display QAM modulation on.
Yep.
I can connect the I and the Q signal off of a 32 QAM modulator and see the constellation.
Yep. I like that scope. I've had it for a long time. It was pretty expensive when I bought it, but it don't fail. You know, it keeps on ticking.
Keeps on ticking. Nowadays, all their scopes look like a laptop computer.
Yeah.
They're basically computers with a little pod there to connect the voltage input.
I can do a lot of design with signal generator and a good scope.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I still have my old Tektronix 7700 analog scope.
Yeah, we used to have one of them at work. Well, we had a lot of HP and Tektronix scopes at work. But I tell you, the piece of equipment that I had for the past year or so is this little mini VNA. If you don't have one of them, that is really a handy little piece of test equipment. And it was like $60. You know what I mean?
I'm looking for one of those that'll do distance to fault.
Well,
Will yours do that?
I think it will. I've never tried it, but I'm pretty sure it will. You know, it's the little VNA Victor Network Analyzer. It's a small screen on it, but I use it with a computer program, so I don't ever even look at the screen. I knew I wasn't going to be able to see that little screen when I bought it. But they have a program. It's a third-party program that I use with it, and this thing really works good for antenna work or any kind of a filter. I use it to check my design on my low pass filters for 2200 meters and 630 meters. And man, you can see what your filter is doing, what the roll off is on it, how much loss is in it. It's just really for the price.
For $60.
Yeah. Well, I think got some bigger screen ones now. The price a little bit higher, but the one I got works fine with the computer program. And it goes from real low frequency, I think, up to 1.5 gigahertz. So it's a pretty good range.
When those things first came out, 400 megahertz was the highest fundamental frequency they would operate.
Yeah.
And then the frequencies above that were harmonics of the internal oscillator.
Yeah.
So they were a little bit less accurate on the upper frequency range. But I noticed, from the advertisements, they just keep going up and up in frequency and getting better and better.
Yeah. Well,
The little guys are great for displaying the resonant points on a multiband antenna.
Yes, that's right.
You can look all the way across. You can look from 2 to 30 megahertz, and you can see every one of the resonant points.
Yeah. I used the old MFJ antenna analyzer for years, and that thing was, I can't remember, it's about $275, something like that when I bought it. And,
yeah, the UHF jobs are higher than that.
Yeah, this one didn't go to UHF, and I mean, just to think that you can go buy a $60 one now,
Yeah.
it's even better than that, and compact, battery operated, you can take it into field. It's just hard to beat.
Everybody.
They have a spectrum analyzer that small now, Phil.
Are they $60 in a case, or is that a billboard?
Yeah. Here, I'll show it to you.
You can get a little case now.
Oh, okay, yeah, I thought they were like 40 in a case, 40 billboard and 60 in a case. Okay, well, that's very cool.
The original jobs were just circuit board. You had to put your own case. But
Right,
now they've got to look like that.
I'm thinking that something that I might be able to help my Civil Air Patrol folks use out in the field, and certainly I want to give them a circuit board.
Yeah.
There you are, nice little case, battery built in, rechargeable battery. When you hook it up to the USB port on the laptop and use the program, it's also charging the battery inside of it. So I've never had a problem with it.
Yeah, I might even, I mean, for that kind of money, I might just buy it myself and loan it out.
It's more accurate than a MFJ analyzer.
It probably is.
You can,
Everybody's got the MFJs, and I hate them. They're really junk.
yeah,
But
they're-
everybody's got one.
well, what could you buy, 20 years ago that would do what it does?
Yeah,
Nothing.
because the MFJ stuff is 20, 30-year-old technology.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anything, any better instrument than that would it cost you a couple of grand?
Mhm.
Well, but before that, I had my old bird through line watt meter, and I
Yeah.
used that thing for years.
Yeah, I had one. I sold it at the Ham Fest, the last Ham Fest we had at Oklahoma City,
Oh,
and all my coils.
I still have a bunch of elements and a
all the elements.
couple of through line. Yeah, mine is not exactly a watt meter, a handheld watt meter. I've got a couple of the through lines, and somewhere I came up with a meter with has the connector for the through lines.
So you got the RF Cupco.
It's like it's a meter with a cable.
You stole that off an air ground radio rack. It had the meter mounted in the rack.
No, I didn't steal it. It was being thrown away.
Yeah. They had the RF head, the RF coupler, and you could plug your elements into the coupler.
Oh no, I didn't steal any of them all at once.
Yeah. One part at a time.
I took the meter to the bin. I took the through lines to the bin. The elements were all ones that failed calibration.
Well, I put a new meter.
But they're damn near close enough for what we need.
Yeah. Well, I put a new meter in mine. Believe it or not, Bird has replacement meters. It cost me $100 for the meter.
Well, shoot, I wish I'd have known you'd need one. I would have sent you one.
Oh man, yeah. Yeah.
Well, of course, now whether mine's the right amperes, milliamps, I don't know.
Well, most of them are standardized on 20 microamp movements.
Yeah, 20 sounds right.
Which is a little bit different from your old Simpson VOM.
Oh, I got one of those too.
Yeah. I still have my old 360.
I think I have a 260.
Yep. There's my spectrum analyzer and synthesizer and 847 scope. Now that's a great setup. I used it to tune the duplexers and the multi-frequency combiner on the club's duplexer setup. But the downside of that is you're looking at about 500 pounds worth of gear.
Yeah.
So it's not even luggable, much less portable.
And that's why I had a service monitor that was an cellular service monitor. Of course, it went from 900 down.
Yeah.
Fantastic, from 900 down to about 10 meg. I think it actually only went to 10 megahertz. It was fantastic from there to there. The problem was it was a beast.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to move it. And I want to take the chance of moving it. And the guy that had given it to me had given me a cart with it. So I sold it to a local club, and they were glad to have it.
Well, I got lucky on the Curvix monitor. I don't know if you can see it over there, but you can barely see it. The Radio Shack up in Derby, Kansas was owned by a couple of guys, and one of the owners was Carl Hersher, I think, that he was an engineer at IFR. And when IFR bought Marconi and evolved into the newer, later, and greater Curvix analyzers like you guys have, the they retired the old IFR 1200S, and they gave Carl permission to sell those to hams.
You told me this.
And Carl got a whole garage load of piece parts that he'd been involved with a designer, and he put them together, and he sold me that analyzer. And it's like a new,
you told me
like
that
a new
last
analyzer.
or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. I mean, I have used that more. I had a guy come over last weekend with a Bofang portable and this little power meter SWR pod that you can connect to the SMA connector and test the antenna on the Bofang. So we put it on this setup and calibrated it, compared it. I got to do the net.
Catch you later, man.
Okay, Phil.
I'll be back in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Ken, I think I got that story from you last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, but
Hey, Don, I just posted a picture in the chat room. It's one of the wells that I did, element to boom. That was my first test sample to see if I could actually do it. Can you see it?
well, it's wanting me to save it, so let me save it and then
Well, surely there's a
put it
way.
back up.
Surely there's a way to just open it. Oh, I put the cursor over mine. It says click to open. And it opened it full screen.
Nice job. Nice welding job there, dude.
Can you see it?
Well, is that the one? Yeah. Yeah.
Single element onto a piece of square tubing.
Did you weld that on both sides, or did you weld it or solder it?
It's brazed
Oh, great. Sorry.
with aluminum rod and acetylene torch.
So, yeah, somewhere between soldering, brazing, and welding.
Right.
somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Did you use proper aluminum brazing rod, or did you use like aluminum ground rod or ground wire?
It's aluminum brazing rod.
Cool. So it had some flux in it.
I don't think it does. I didn't add any flux, but it's like you said,
it might have a little bit of. It's got something added into it.
Inside it, yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
But it's like you said, the secret is everything has to be clean.
Well, it looks like it fluxing worked.
And that was my first test to see if I could actually braze it on there. And then I did the 20 element one.
Yeah, saw that.
You seen the 20 element?
Yeah, you showed us that a week or two ago.
Oh, okay.
Nice job.
So I got 2 of those built now.
Yeah.
And I got them on a short tower out beside my big tower. I don't have them. SWR's down pretty low. Like I said earlier, I used a 2-meter power divider on it and phasing lines, and the SWR is down to about 1.3 to 1.
That sounds good.
I don't know if I can get it any better than that or not.
Don't remember, the enemy of perfect is good, or something like that.
Well,
the enemy of perfect is good enough.
Seems to be good enough. It's hard to tell. I don't have I did copy the satellite CW beacon when it came over my house today with that antenna, and they were loud and clear. But the two of them, two of those together is 18 dB gain.
One of the Facebook groups I'm on, the guy built him a 2-meter antenna, and his actual dip is at 151, and but he's below 1.3 over the whole 2-meter band.
Yeah.
And people are bitching at him about it. I'm like, leave it the hell alone. It works.
Yeah, if he can,
It works, dude.
if you're not trying to run a lot of power, you're okay.
No. He's at 1.3.
Yeah.
He can run 100 watts into that and be
Oh
fine.
yeah, easy. That's no problem. I was thinking a kilowatt.
Yeah, no. And we're talking an FM
Yeah.
or actually sideband, because it was actually a horizontal. But yeah, it was that was the other thing. It was actually a 2-meter 440.
Yeah.
And he was like 1.3 at the lower edge of 2 meters. So I'm like, whatever. Dude.
Yeah. Well, he's good. I don't think it. And what was he
And
using to
people are
measure?
fussing for it.
What was he using to measure his dip? Was it, what kind of instrument did he use to measure the dip? Where he was dipping at 151?
Oh, I don't know. I'll try to grab a picture of that. Hang on a minute. Give me a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Let me at least see if I can get a picture of what he was building. Not even sure which group it was on, so give me a few minutes.
We got time, evidently.
Well, we do indeed.
Well,
Sorry, I'm so boring.
no problem. I'm gonna try to upload another image myself here. It's an image.
As long as it's not an image of me.
It's an image that's taken of this little DNA network analyzer thing. It's a screenshot of it, so you'll be able to see what it looks like.
Cool. Yeah, I've seen some of that stuff, and I probably need to get off my ass and save the money up and just buy one.
Okay, I uploaded a screenshot. And you can
Yep.
see,
I'll check that out in a minute.
okay, it's
After you.
a SWR and a return loss plot of this 432 megahertz antenna.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just wanting me to save it and open it.
I don't understand that, because mine just says, I put the cursor over it, it says click to open.
Oh, there we go. Now that's funny, because that time it did. Oh, sweet. Yes, I need one of these.
You see that?
Yes, I need one of these.
You see the, shows the frequency and it shows the SWR.
Yes, I completely, I'm a techie guy. I
It
completely
shows
get
the
it all.
return loss.
I got it all, dude.
Uh,
I even get the dip on the top end.
check out the return loss, minus 43.
Yeah, pretty damn good.
So I got a pair of them going now.
Mhm. Yeah. All right. I think I know what my next toy is going to be.
Oh man, you can't beat that for the price. You might go ahead and get the one with the bigger screen. It's
Hey, if I gotta sell some guns, I'll buy one of these. No.
I don't really know that I needed a bigger screen the way I'm doing mine with the laptop. I've got an old HP laptop that I use with it, and I don't use it for anything except something like that. Well, my son uses it sometimes when he does astrophotography, but he's got a new computer now, so he don't even do that anymore.
I have a 7-year that no, I'm not on it now. I'm on a little newer machine, but I have a 7-year-old laptop that if you remember when I was doing my on the couch thing, when I was really dealing with a broke leg, that was my 7-year-old laptop, and it did a fine job.
Yeah, it's just a small program. It worked fine on that.
Oh yeah, but
It's got a USB cable, goes to this little VNA, and you get a calibration loads with it. You get a open and a short and a 50 ohm dummy load. And
comes over with an OSL. Cool.
Yeah. It's got all the programming stuff, little cables and everything. And
yeah,
the program.
I am smart enough to know about a network analyzer to know we need an OSML. So yeah.
The program's got a button on it for calibrate. You click on that calibrate button and it steps you through, tells you to put the open on, hit the OK button, put the short on, hit the OK button, put the 50 ohm dummy load on, hit the OK button. Then if you want to calibrate the other port, this is a 2-port device. It's not just a single port. You can also calibrate the other port, which is what I used whenever I was looking at low pass filters that I built for 630 meters. So you come out of one port, go through the low pass, back into the other port.
Port through.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's.
I mean, used to that was a high dollar machine to do that.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Yeah. I remember we had a machine that you only had one device you hooked up and it did open short load, but it cost a hell of a lot more than $60.
Yeah.
Yeah, it actually had a load that would do open short load switched.
Yeah.
With one device, but yeah. Again, much more than $60.
Is that Ken I see on there?
I think you got me convinced, Ken.
I hope so. You can't go wrong, man. It's a neat little toy to play with.
Just open VNA, huh?
Yep. If you're gonna put up an antenna there at your location, you can check it with that. Go on Amazon. I'll buy everything on Amazon these days.
Me too.
Can't beat the price. I mean, the free delivery, Prime, you get it really quick. Man, I've been getting stuff the next day here lately.
Ken, do you use Smile and send that extra money to the club?
I do. Amazon Smile. And I buy a lot of stuff on Amazon. And a portion of it goes to the Radio Amateur Club.
look, if a delivery truck does not show up in my driveway once a day, I get concerned.
Yeah, I told my daughter-in-law we was gonna have to build another building out back just to put all that crap in we keep buying from Amazon.
Well,
That hits a little close to home.
I'm on first name basis
Familiar.
with some of my delivery folks.
Is that on a phone or a tablet that we're seeing your face there? See your eyeball now. Are you muted? Yeah, your microphone's muted. Is that Ken? Hey,
Hello.
talk to us.
Oh, I'm just listening.
Hey,
Just got back from work, so.
that's working
it is.
good.
It
Yeah,
is.
jump in
Yeah,
there, man.
didn't
Pardon?
recognize
Yeah,
it
wait.
without the open garage door.
Oh, no, I don't dare open the garage door. I opened the car door and a swarm of mosquitoes came charging in.
Wow.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Well, I think it was Carl, wasn't it Carl that was complaining about mosquitoes too earlier? They're everywhere, this damp weather, I guess.
You Oklahoma guys have no idea what mosquitoes are about. Well,
Yeah,
now if you live out near, if you live in a wet area, no, I'll give you that. But I grew up in Canton, Ohio, Northeast Ohio. We know what mosquitoes are about. We're not quite Northeast Michigan, but
it can't be as bad as Minnesota mosquitoes, man.
At noon today, I was fighting them off. I swatted 3 mosquitoes at
Really?
noon.
Yeah.
That ain't right.
No, we need some good, hot, dry summertime weather.
I don't know, Don.
You're muted. Don.
Georgia is known for quite a few mosquitoes too.
Yeah. Anywhere in the South.
oh, I know. And I did live in Norman for 6 years, so
Yeah, I've never seen the mosquitoes as bad as they are this year. There's just, well, uncountable numbers of them. They're just swarms. Like when I was at Fort Benning, there were just these clouds of mosquitoes that would be the size of a bus.
Yeah.
And, it'd just be a dark cloud. And the ones in this area in Norman here by the river, it's like that now too. And they'll bite you like a dozen at a time.
Wow.
Will just hit you and stick. And you shake those off and they're just replaced by a dozen more.
well, hopefully insect repellent helps.
I'm gonna have to get out of here, guys. Good talking to everybody tonight. We'll see y'all next time.
Good to see you, Ken. Catch you another time.
Okay.
So I'm really curious, what's going on at the fire station, guys? Is anybody listening to us? But we're actually having a pretty good time here.
I think they got them muted and they've got us muted.
That's okay. That's okay. Well, it's the best time I've had in about 3 weeks. Phil, you're looking well.
Thank you.
Or should we say as well as can be?
As well as can be. be expected under the circumstances.
Yeah, well,
I kind of violated the diet over the 4th of July holiday, but what can you do?
so did I every day. But hey, we got like I said, we got ticket to the Indy Indians game, which is interesting, which is the AAA team, believe it or not, for the Pittsburgh Pirates, not the Cleveland Indians.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Huh.
the Indy Indians are the AAA team for the Pittsburgh Pirates, but the Iowa Cubs that we were playing are the AAA team for the Chicago Cubs.
Okay.
So, and we didn't win, but it was fun to watch, and we still kicked some butt even though we didn't win. And these guys play. I mean, I'm sorry. I've been to some minor league games before, and these guys play for keeps. These guys play for keeps more than they. I'm surprised a couple of them to get thrown out. Let's just say that. We had quite a few hit by pitch balls, or quite a few almost hit by pitch balls.
So is that a classic ball game? You get to sit up there, watch the ball game, eat the hot dogs, drink the beer, the whole experience.
Oh yeah, we were actually in a suite.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
Sarah's work has a suite,
Oh my gosh.
and I wasn't sure that they just rented it for the weekend. But yeah, their name is actually on the suite, so they've obviously rented it like for the season.
So you had people bringing hot dogs and beer around to you.
Well,
With
there was
food.
only so many hot dogs, but there was plenty of beer.
Yep.
I only had a couple of beers because my plan was I had a few beers in the afternoon.
Oh.
Sarah was going to drive in, which she did. I was going to drive home, but when we got done, she's like, "Yes, yeah, you screw it. I'll drive home," because she didn't want to navigate. So she's like, "You navigate me home. We'll get home."
Yeah.
And we got home
Yeah.
fairly efficiently, although unfortunately over a lot of bumpy industrial roads. But we got home very efficiently.
You got home.
Yes, we did. And we
Stand
slept
Stand by.
very well. I think we got home at 11 and we got up at like 8 o'clock the next morning. There he is. Yeah, if anybody wants to steer the talk back to radio, go right ahead. One thing I need to figure out how to put some holes in my brick fascia on my house so I can put some freaking coaxes in so I can put some damn antennas outside. I may actually hire a contractor for that. Hate to say it.
You say put holes in your fascia.
I have a brick house. So most brick houses are actually considered brick fascia because it's brick over studs, right?
Yeah.
So
there's not any windows that you can use to.
no. No. The only window that's convenient is a window that goes out the front. I'm not doing that. No, I'm going to go out the side. And actually, none of my windows really have any room that you could squeeze anything more than a little 3/16 coax by anyway. My windows have very narrow frames. So yeah. I have no problem. I would love to put a half a brick size hole in the house. I got no problem with that. I may end up doing it myself. We'll see.
Well, but you really need the brick saw to make a smooth hole. I mean, you don't want to just bust an ugly hole in the brick.
I have tools.
Good.
I got tools, dude. Not a problem. Even if it means me turning a bunch of putting a dozen 3/16 holes in and knocking them out between. But yes, I do have masonry blades for my sawzall.
Okay.
So my thing is, I really want to take a whole brick out. I would prefer to take a half brick out.
Yeah.
Taking a whole brick out is actually easier.
Well,
You don't
yeah.
have any extra bricks, do you?
But then I got to put half a brick back in.
You may have to
Do you
take the
have
whole
any
brick,
extra-
take the whole brick out, cut it in half, and put a half brick back in.
That may actually be not a bad option.
Yeah, do you have any other bricks, any extra bricks?
I do not, but I would not be horribly upset if one didn't quite match.
Yeah,
If a half a brick didn't match, I wouldn't be horribly upset.
yeah. What about the idea of putting a utility box, taking a whole brick out just by chipping out the mortar around it and then putting a utility box up and using that, and then if you decided to put it back the way that it was, well, then you could just stick that brick back in there, mortar it back in, and nobody'd ever know.
That's kind of where I'm going with that, actually. I'm kind of thinking a half a brick is about the size of a normal standard single outlet box, if you think about it, sideways. And yeah, so that's why I was kind of just only trying to take a single or a half a brick out at a time. But if I'm going to take a whole one and mortar half of it back in, the problem is I'm overthinking this and I'm over fussing about it. And you just effing do it.
Yeah, I've done it just about every way. Go up through the soffit, through the wall, and by far the through the deal that you put in at the bottom of the window. Can't think of what you call it now. Pass through panel that has a whole bunch of connectors on it for everything. Man, that is absolutely the best way to go, because then everything's right there where you need it. If you need to undo some, change some coax or undo it, well, it's right there beside you. And the second best thing is a hole through the wall. But I discovered that instead of trying to just make small ones, the best thing to do is just put a utility box out on the outside so that it's weatherproof and bug proof, and then just make a, like a whole brick, so that, because inevitably you're going to have to put more and more and more lines through that, either coax or, power lines to your battery backup stuff, it's inevitable.
Right. I mean, I figure if I've got the space of a single size outlet box going to the outside, that's more cables on all. That's more space than I'll ever need run cables.
You'll fill it up.
It's kind of like
Yeah, I highly doubt that.
it's like a storage building. Whatever it
Oh,
is,
yes. The more
whatever
space you
size-
have, the more you fill it up. No, I understand that, but considering where it's going, probably the most I'll ever have is 3 or 4 cables through it, maybe 1 or 2 power cables, and I won't come close to filling up a standard half a brick. But yes, no, I very much appreciate all the advice and the suggestions, and we'll see where we go. And I'll take some damn pictures. Because, this is going to need to be done. I need to make some holes.
When my house was new, we put the 2-inch nipple through the wall outside. Electrician put a 10 by 10 NEMA 4 box out on the brickwork. It's painted and it looks neat. I've got 4 1/0 grounding cables coming up into that. And I've got a 2-inch conduit that goes underground with swept bins out to my tower pad location for coaxes to go out. And this 2-inch nipple that goes through the wall is just about full of cables.
Well, yeah. So I'm thinking, yeah, if I got a 2 by 3 outlet box, I should have plenty of space.
Like I say, I've got a 10 by 10
Maybe.
box out there. That 10 by 10 box is full of cable. Of course, my thinking was at the time, I'm bringing coaxes and grounding into that JIC box, and I'm rolling them up to try to create a little bit of lightning protection on the cables.
That's a good point. I probably should plan on putting a decent lightning rod down right outside the entrance.
I've got a rod outside on the JIC box, and then I've got 4 1/0 grounding cables that go out across the yard, and one of those cables goes out to the tower pad, so I can bond the tower pad to the JIC box. But when the lightning storm comes along, I still disconnect the coax off the back of the radio.
Yeah, I remember my Cleveland house. I always used to have had a little attic antenna. I would connect the radios to during the storms.
I've got a little 2-meter mobile on the mag base that's stuck up on top of my AL80 amplifier. And for the last 2 years, the only purpose that the AL80 serves is to provide a ground plane for that 2-meter indoor antenna. I don't think I've had the amplifier turned on once.
Got to have some ground plane when you got to, yeah. During the storms, yeah. Actually, we had when I was in Cleveland, one of our Skywarn repeaters on 440, I could hit with a handheld, so it was like not even an issue.
Yeah. You don't need
Like, yeah, I had a couple of commercial handhelds, and I always kept two of them charged, and it was like, yeah, whatever. But that was like kind of our backup repeater, but 2 meters obviously, was preferable.
Yeah. I think Elmer and I is about to fall apart. There's at least
Uh-oh.
two people sitting there look like they're asleep, and the others are just shooting the bull.
No, that's funny, considering it's 9:41 p.m. here in Ohio. I mean, Indiana, wherever the hell I am.
I never could figure that out. I couldn't figure out which one of you guys changed time zones and which one doesn't.
Well, I'm in Eastern time. Yes.
Okay.
The problem is I'm an Ohio boy, and I would love to be in Ohio, but I'm in Indiana, which is like close but no cigar.
Yeah.
But yes, I am an hour ahead of you guys. So yeah, it's not 9:40-ish here, and I am still awake. Lately, considering as worn out as I was from that race the other day, I'm surprised. Well, not that I haven't rested up.
You know, you never rest up from that. You just get over it.
No, I'm exactly. I'm well over it. I mean, that was a couple days ago.
Are you able to telework from there, or do you have to go out in the real world and work? You don't do GNAS, do you?
Is there a real? No, dude. I'm teleworking from now till Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's gonna be a challenge going back to the office.
Yeah, you and me both. I got to go back and take all the stupid recertification courses. I still haven't done it.
How could anybody decertify you off of anything, dude?
Oh, I got to go take first aid. I've got to take
okay.
Electrical flash protection recert. I've got to do RCM recert. They actually wanted me to take the tower climbing course. I said, okay, I'll take it, but they're going to have a big pulley and a winch to winch me up that tower. There's no way I'm climbing a radio tower.
Did you tell it? You should have just told them there was 3 options for you to take that. Slim chance, fat chance, and no chance.
That's right. That's right. I mean, I gave away my tower climbing belt because it shrank. I tried to put it on, it didn't fit.
Yeah, mine did too. I hope we're amusing Carl and we haven't put him to sleep.
Those old leather belts shrink up, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, now, Phil, you're FA or contract?
Contract.
Okay. Shoot me an email or a PM with who you're working for.
All right. I think I'm Mike Monroney's oldest contractor.
Yeah, you might be, but I'm also eligible to retire in a couple of months.
Yeah. Well, I came within a breath of retiring when I got out of the hospital in March.
Mm-hmm.
I really wasn't crazy about going back to work, but the boss said, "Yeah, you should come back and work a while."
Well, I'm talking about retiring from the FAA, not retiring from life.
Well, right.
Not yet.
So, I mean, you too could come back as a contractor.
Oh, I intend to.
That's like reincarnation.
Well, and that's the thing is I come back as a contractor. I don't like X contractor. I go work for Y contractor.
That's right. And
so yeah, when you get a chance, shoot me that either PM or my call sign at Hotmail.
Okay. Okay.
Or even even my FA email. I don't care.
Yeah, the kid called me from Gaviota, California today.
Mm.
I troubleshot his low voltage battery disconnect problem. Gave him the NSN. That's only because the logistic folks are totally helpless.
Mm.
They end up calling us for NSNs.
Phil, you covered way too many disciplines. I don't pay you enough.
Well, I got to tell people like what my boss told me. He said, no one's going to fire you. No one wants your stinking job.
Oh. But I could be your assistant. I would be honored to be your assistant. I should be careful what I ask for because I might get it.
You might get it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of like the detail I've got now. It's like, okay, I'm sitting at home all day. I've got 3 cats that all want my attention. I don't really have a lot of direction. What am I doing?
Yeah. Why are you here?
No, it's just taken a couple weeks for them to sort out some work for me to do. And now I'm going to be like busy all day, every day, but it's, they figured it out. They added some tasks for us. So we are now going to be doing, some training some, not only training, but, reviewing. Oh my goodness. Somebody's got one of them old AM antennas.
Yeah.
I know what that is.
Yeah.
I wanted one of those, how do I put this politely? I wanted one of those immensely when I was a child.
Yeah. All I ever had was one of those little things that looked like a rocket ship with a little antenna on the top of it. And you had an earpiece you stuck in your ear and you grounded it to the telephone set and you could hear the local AM radio station.
I had one of those as well.
Did
That
ya?
was I had something similar.
We had a
My first radio, but yeah, I did have a long wire going out to the telephone pole in the backyard. Of course, it was parallel to the electrical wire, but surprisingly, of course, back then there was no wireless over power line or internet over power line and none of that BS.
It wasn't much noise.
It was actually pretty clean.
Yeah. Well, our telephone set had a rotary dial. You remember those. And the rotary dial had a little finger stop on it that was metal. And that metal finger stop was tied to the tip side of the telephone line. So all I had to do was clip my radio ground onto that finger stop. And I went to sleep every night listening to the local radio station. All 250 watts of it.
Yeah. No, I had to use the center screw of a outlet plate as my ground.
Yep.
This that the house I was in was actually new enough to actually have grounded outlets.
Well, for a long time, I had an old receiver over here with a single wire antenna on it that I had a banana plug, and I stuck the banana plug in the round ground hole on the receptacle. And of course, you got that ground wire that goes up in the attic all the way across the house and back down and gets grounded at the main box, right? Makes a pretty good long wire antenna. You're muted.
Pretty much. I bet that worked great.
It worked good. Well, friends and neighbors, I think I'm gonna say 73 and veg out.
Considering I have to be at work at 7 in the morning,
Ooh, yuck.
and that's 6 your time.
That's 6 o'clock my time. I don't even
Yeah,
get to
that-
sleep good
doesn't
till
that-
then.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, that's not to say there's no real requirement that our eyes are open when we walk in here to the office and sit down.
Well, I don't technically have to be there till 8, but I call it 7, and I try to check in about 7:30 and make it 8.
As long as I'm awake enough to send them a tell them you're working email and say, I'm here, I'm working, that fulfills the requirement.
Amen, brother.
Well,
Well, the rest of you folks have a great night. I think I'm going to bail too. Good to talk to you, Phil, as always.
As always. Okay, guys, later.
Ciao. That just leaves us, Ken.
sure enough. The interface with the room, with the firehouse is not too good.
Oh, why do you say that?
Can't hear a thing.
Oh, yeah, they apparently muted it. What is that Peter Core has that it only popped up about a quarter of the way into the screen? I couldn't read it.
I couldn't either. I'm not sure what they were doing.
Is it a toy or something?
I have no idea because I can't really see enough of the activities there to know what they're doing. Get a little bigger picture if I rotate the phone sideways. Not sure.
Yeah, looks to be about the size of an LP record,
Mm-hmm.
but it's thicker.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they're doing with that. I was hoping Lyndall Smith got his off-center fed dipole straightened out. He's been after me to tune it up for him, but I don't know. I mean, I guess it's an off-center fed dipole. I guess you put it together and play with it until it's running right. I don't know, but you got an 80 through 10. I can barely set that up on my front yard. My backyard's a disaster right now. I haven't been able to keep up with it since I got started working. I'm getting ready to have to take a little vacation from that, get caught up. But tomorrow's the last day of the 13 colonies special event stations.
Did
So
you get them all?
I haven't even had anything hooked up the whole time. Tomorrow's the last day, so he's gonna come over, we're gonna hook something up. Make some noise.
Hey, what'd you guys end up with running on field day?
We ended up with 199 voice contacts.
No, I mean, what radio gear?
Oh, well, it was a mix. Um, oh, fiddle. Shoot. Trying to remember. I'm having a mental it's a Biden moment. One of the newbies brought in a TS 2000 Kenwood. We had the 706 from the club. And then Peter K brought in a 7300 later. And it was challenging. We had a lot of interference from each other.
Well,
Yeah. So
looks like you got enough contacts.
we ended up working off band from Mark. Whatever Mark was on, every 15 seconds we had no receive. So we ended up working 15 when he was on 20. He was on 20 most of the time, worked 40 some. 40 got hammered by the CW station.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And the main thing was we need the voice antenna. The voice antenna needs to be out of the near field. When they put the folded dipole within about 20 feet of the vertical antenna, one end of it, it just hammered us. So I won't put up an antenna until I'll wait on the vertical next time if we use it again. And then put it the farthest point I can get it from either one of the other two. Well, we need to use all the space that's available, and we didn't because of the weather. So, I mean, it was not an unreasonable decision to do what we did, but it definitely impacted our ability to function for voice.
Yeah, I thought they were going to put up a tent for the voice, and
Well, they were. And then they decided with the rain, all the weather against it. Well, when they didn't put up the digital antenna until the last thing, and I was already set up about 100 feet, maybe, no, 80 feet from the back of the van. And then they ran that folded dipole right across the field, right across the yard there. And the very tail end of it was about 25 feet from my antenna. So it was kind of rough. The 7300 was frequently overloading. I had to turn RF gain all the way down if I was in band with that digital. So you don't get much reception on that. Anybody we talked to came back. We got out okay, but we almost need a directional antenna. Mark Klein's not very favorable on that, but I don't know. Maybe
that's I hadn't really thought about that, but yeah, there's several options on that, and probably one of the easier ones would be a hex beam. and just have it on a pole with a, it'd be really easy to set that up with a rotor
Mhm.
on a pole and just stick it in the ground. And as long as it was 30 feet in the air, you wouldn't even have to put guy wires on it or anything. Just get it 30 feet up, and everything 6 through 20 would work perfect.
I think that's not a bad idea. Anyway, we'll have to play with it, with the arrangement quite a bit next time. We do need to get the stations as far apart, corner to corner, in the property that we have available to us. Because we were in near field. Once you get out of the near field, you get a little bit with the vertical versus horizontal, and the, working different ends of the band. Of course, digital and CW are right next to each other. So I don't know. Anyway, it was a little bit challenging, but we did get, we got the 199 like on the last 10 seconds. But we got them on, we got contacts on 15. We got a few on 10, I think, 20 and 40.
Did Mark stay up all night working on the radio?
We shut down for 4 hours for lightning.
That's right. Yeah, forgot about that.
Yeah, that cut into our game a little bit. Oh well, it was fun nevertheless. And when I collapsed the pole, I was pretty careful about wrapping everything up. And I went out this morning. Well, I guess it was early afternoon before I went to work, and I extended everything out. It all came out real easy and lined up. Took me about 25 minutes, and it's ready to stand up. So I'll put it out in the front yard tomorrow. We'll play a little bit of 13 Colonies. See where it goes.
Well, that'd be good.
Yeah. I got to get busy and finish up my CW project and get going with it. I just let things sidetrack me at the moment between work and all of everything associated with that, and then trying to keep up with my two hobbies. Been a little bit much, but I'm getting a lot better. It's running my blood sugar down, and it's improving my stamina. So I'm accomplishing a couple of things with it, and it's giving me a little bit of mad money. So it's been good in that respect.
Yeah, your clock doesn't quite seem to be correct time
Pardon?
up above your head.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it hadn't had a battery in it for 10 years.
Yeah, I noticed it simply because that I had to replace the battery in mine that's about that same size this evening.
I need to go up there and set it on 1230. There was a Mama's and Papa's song. Looking out the window at a church with a clock that always said 1230. I don't know, one of these days I might get up there. I hope there's no battery in it. I don't think there's a battery in it. actually. I think I took it out. Now I'm gonna have to go and do that and look. Anyway. Well, it's kind of weird. The firehouse moved everything as far away from our camera as they could.
Yeah, and they had two cameras up the first time, and I guess they decided it was easier just to run that one.
Well, last time I was there, they were booming. They had the audio, the Zoom audio up so loud that it was overwhelming. And now it's apparently gone the other extreme. Anyway,
Yeah, it was a little distracting having two different conversations going on where you could hear them both just about the same sound intensity, the people on Zoom and the people in the room.
yeah, it's not an ideal thing by any means, but oh well. Anyway, well, I'm hoping to get back into. I might cheat on my code promise, but I might just let Lyndall do the 13 colonies tomorrow and play with my code while he's doing that. I got to get that done. I think if I can get started with it, that I will enjoy it immensely. But
So you're gonna try to do 13 colonies on CW?
I don't think they're doing any CW stations. I don't know. I'm just gonna play with the code. I'm gonna set up a station and let Lyndall get out and see if he can work a few. But I might just concede over the 4th and the 13th colony thing and go ahead and do a little phone. Then put that aside again until I get on the air with CW. But I'm not making much progress, so not going to get it until I just jump out and do it. I might contact there are some SKCC Elmers in the area. Actually, Alan Cope we were talking about getting together, and we can copy each other on 10 meter, and at least we could make a legal contact. And that would qualify that, and then maybe break the ice and just get out there and just need to get out there and call CQ is what I need to do.
Yeah, it sounds like you're like me, got too many projects going on.
It's got that way. I need to get a few of them wrapped up, and the work thing, I'm not sure yet how much longer I'm going to do it, but I'm actually debating maybe going back to do some medical stuff. If I am gonna work, I might as well make the most out of it financially. That'll never happen at Home Depot, but it's been interesting. I've learned a lot about plumbing. I saw a guy that has, I've got that 15-foot aluminum mast that I built, that I have so far assembled so far. And it needs a stinger on the end of it to double the distance, because I want to make a 30 or 35-foot mast out of it. And there's a guy on that did a YouTube building just a PVC mast, step down in size from 4 to 3 to 2. And the pipes don't quite fit. They fit loosely inside each other. And you can get a reducing adapter. Well, if you just stick 2 pieces of pipe together with a reducer, that's not going to be a very strong joint. And so what he did was he took the stop out of the reducer so he could push the pipe further in, and then built a spacer so that there's like a 2-foot overlap between the 2 pipes.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like a pretty cool way to do it. The aluminum mast that I have fits a 3-inch PVC pipe almost perfectly. I think 1 wrap of Gorilla Tape on the very bottom will take out all the wiggle. And I should be able to get 35 feet. If I can get 35 feet, I want to put up Lee's horse fence antenna on it. Well, I'll put up a hoist so I can play with dipoles in the 30-foot range, which will make 20 meters ideal as far as its radiation pattern. So, and it should be solid enough for 30, for 40 and 30, and well, for everything I want to do. I don't know what I'll do on 80 meters, if anything. Might do a little FT8, maybe. But that's a project I want to get into before long. Well, I'm getting pretty much about wore out for the day. I think I'm going to call it quits.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm going to make it to Elmer's night next Tuesday and the following Tuesday. So
Well, that'd be good.
I'll be on the other end of that. Anyway, silent movies, Firehouse. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I just didn't hear of anything that it sounded like anybody was going to have anything that I could help with. So I decided not to go this time in person. Of course, nowadays there's just not very much that that I can help with anybody.
Yeah. What I'm thinking I'm going to do, I think on the next trip, I'm going to bring my little QCX QRP rig and an antenna. Maybe set up and with a couple of sets of ears on the copy mode, we might be able to do a little bit of little CW.
At Elmer night.
Oh, at Elmer night, yeah. I miss not having radio stations of it, having a station set up like we had at Red Cross.
Yeah.
Oh, need to figure out an answer for that.
Yeah, and I wonder what they're going to use that room that they've been using for EOC. I I guess they're going to have an actual EOC building. So I wonder what they're going to use that little room for.
Where's the EOC building gonna be?
I think it's going to be there just east of the
Because they just,
fire
they just
station.
they just put
I
the
think.
tower up. They just put the tower up right next to the classroom.
Yeah, something was said about that they're going to take the training tower down. That's something I'd sure like to get that and set it up here in the back 40.
Mhm.
That would sure be convenient
That would be fun.
for working on antennas. I could set my 80-foot tower on that, and that'd get me up about 100 and 50, get up 130, 140 feet, which would be good for 160.
I've got 5 steel frames that more or less align with each other that would stack. They're about 7 feet. They would make a 35-foot, if you welded them one on the other, about a 35-foot tall structure.
What is it?
It's made of steel. It's actually a rectangular steel frame. They were used to hold medical equipment in shipment, and they were part of the elevation hardware. So they would you could hoist a monitor suspension that was about 200 pounds, 300 pounds out of it and place it on the ceiling. So anyway, looks like we're getting ready to get shut down, I think.
Nope, apparently so. They're gone, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they have left. They may not have left the building, but they've left it. Anyway, there's a lot of things could be kind of fun to do. Could turn that into a shack, put those together to form a shack. I've thought about putting a couple of them on a trailer and building a mobile shack with a elevating mast. It'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. Yeah, that's a little portable shack, have the radios and stuff built in,
Mhm.
and a crank up, fold over tower.
Yep.
And I know that a couple of the guys for the club have towers on trailers, but I haven't seen anything so far that's except for the emergency operation vans that have a Radio Shack built in. But yeah, that would be something that I could put my extra equipment that I'm probably not ever going to use again in something like that, and have a little air conditioner heater set up.
Mhm. Yeah, you could heat it with a cube heater, no sweat. And I've got I loaned a friend a little 4,000 BTU window unit. Well, properly mounted, that would work just fine. Low current, I mean, not a lot of power required. Little 110, lightweight 110 air conditioner, more than cool, something like that. Anyway, that might turn into a project.
Yeah. And if
Yeah,
the
put
shack was big enough, solar panels. And maybe
Good.
even have solar panels that you could, that were hinged, that whenever you got light, wherever you were gonna go, to just fold them out. Yeah, that's a really interesting idea. Of
could
course,
be
now
done, yeah.
it's, the thought of, instead of having a trailer and building all this stuff onto it, to actually just have it built into a motorhome or fifth wheel or something.
Yeah, but I've got, I'm looking at things that I have that I don't have to acquire. That might make them, might be useful. I've got an old boat trailer, and it's a dilly with a 15-foot fiberglass boat that needs to be cut into pieces and put in the trash. And then the trailer is sound, it just needs to be sanded or sandblasted and painted. And some tires for it. It'd be, yeah, it might, I might have to knock that whole thing around.
Hmm.
Because for emergency use, you could build a ham stick dipole, maybe yeah, maybe a 20 or 40 meter, rotatable. Anyway, all kinds of possibilities, no telling.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, my battery's about to give out on my phone too, so I think all the indicators indicate it's time to call it a night.
Okay.
I will
Catch
catch
you
up
later, Ken.
with you later. Bye.